On the very first problem that we have here, we're given a sequence. I can recognize that it's geometric because every single time I have a common ratio. In other words, to get from one term to the next, the same number is being multiplied, or if you work backwards, the same number is being divided. So it's like 1 times 2 is 2, 2 times 2 is 4, 4 times 2 is 8, and so on. So number 1 says find A3, which means find term 3. Well, that's 1, 2, 3, so term 3 is going to be 4. So very similar to what we did yesterday. Then number 2 says find A6, so you could look at the pattern to predict what it is. So if we're multiplying by 2 each time, this is the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, so the sixth term is the one right after this. So if you take that common ratio and multiply it times 16, 16 times 2 would be 32. Then it says write a rule. When you write a rule for any geometric sequence, you're going to use the following. Now this rule is the first term, so the term we want is equal to the first term times the common ratio raised to the n-1 power. So if you look at the original sequence that we're given, our first term is 1. So we can say a sub n is equal to 1 times the common ratio you get by taking the second term divided by the first term. So you get it by saying 2 divided by 1, or 4 divided by 2, or 8 divided by 4. And so that's going to equal 2. So the common ratio is 2, and then you raise it to the n-1. And since 1 times anything is that thing, we're really going to say this is n to the a sub n is equal to 2 to the n-1. So then it says find a sub 10. Well, now we can use our rule. So a sub n is equal to 2 raised to the n-1. So a sub n is equal to 2 raised to the 10-1, which is really 2 to the 9th. And if you put that in your calculator, you would then get 256. So a sub 10 is equal to 256. Then we're given another sequence, and I'm sorry, I kind of smushed it together. Here's our sequence: 16, -8, 4, -2. That should be a +1, comma, so on. So what we've got here is this sequence. You'll notice that the negatives are going every other. That means we will have a negative involved, but we're still going to go back to a sub n is equal to the first term times the common ratio raised to the n-1. So a sub n is equal to the first term, which is 16, times our common ratio, and remember, take the second term divided by the first term. So -8 divided by 16, which is really -1/2. So our common ratio is -1/2 raised to the n-1 power. And then if it says to find a6, you can use your rule that you just made. So a6 is equal to 16 times -1/2 raised to the 6-1 power. So a sub 6 is equal to 16 times -1/2 to the 5th power. So we need to figure out what 1/2 to the 5th power is, and I don't have my calculator here today, so I'm actually going to have to do this longhand. Remember, each of these are going to be negatives, but the final answer is going to be negative because we have an odd number of negatives here. So we have 8 to the 6 is equal to 16 times some negative number. 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8, times 2 is 16, times 2 is 32. So we have 32 here, and it's 1 over 32, because remember this is a fraction. And so when we multiply straight across, 8 to the 6 is equal to 16 over -32. And when we simplify that, that would be -1/2. And then you can just double check this if you want based on what we were given at the top. Remember that every single time we've been dividing this by 2, and the 6th term is the one that comes right here. So if we do 1 divided by that 2, we get that 1/2. But remember, every other one of these would be negative.